All right, hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries, and when it comes down to pronouncing things in the world, it's often a war zone. Oh, by the way, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button because we like the number that it gives us, even though YouTube is changing it because they're meanie pants and they don't like to keep anything constant. Names and definitions and verbiage and diction and all of that stuff, I get it. We've been there. If you were a kid once, you probably got into the argument of Varrock versus Varrock, Audi or Audi, Ope versus Opie. There's been more times that we've come across these kinds of arguments in our own comments, and one of the most common ones, of course, in all the forums, on all the web pages, on all the club pages, all the forums, all of the forums is, hey, guys, is it a wheel or is it a rim? So now, before we go into World War III, we're gonna preface it by saying that it's not actually that big of a deal. I know that we think it is, and that's okay. If we're justifying our times at night arguing about how to pronounce something, I think that our lives are pretty good. People that aren't extremely active in the car community, or more specifically the wheel community, will just almost always call a wheel a rim. It's just how the cookie crumbles.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
The argument sits at, well, a rim is a wheel without the tire. And while it has a pretty valid claim, it's just not entirely the way that the world works. It's just not entirely true, because the rim is a section of the wheel that is usually the outermost facing part of the assembly. Rims on multi-piece wheels, for instance, are more commonly referred to as lips than rims. For those with a one-piece design wheel, for instance, though, some people feel as if it has to be a rim because it's all one completed melted piece of aluminum alloy. But unfortunately, that's not the case either. And to be honest, rim is the colloquial—
Wait, hold up. Colloquial. It's an adjective.
Used in or characteristic of familiar and informal conversation.
—term for wheels to individuals that don't dive too deep into the whole wheel thing. And it's okay. Nobody should be getting real mad about that. But that's not the only terminology, but that people have a tendency to sometimes flippy-flop with some other words. A perfect example would be the hardware on multi-piece wheels are often referred to by lots of people as rivets. That'll get all sorts of old school wheel guys real antsy, a little feisty. Rivets are permanent, like mechanical fasteners. The hardware that you talk about in multi-piece wheels can actually be removed and reinstalled at any time with the right knowledge. That's a pretty common difference. And then even though you go into wheels that have the simulated hardware, people would say that it's a rivet, but since most of them can be taken out and replaced with different color stuff, that technically really isn't a rivet either, because especially if it's made from plastic, it's definitely not a rivet. The same could be said for the inner lip of a multi-piece wheel, which is usually more commonly referred to as the barrel. The barrel of the intersection that sits behind the face of the wheel. Now, this is where all of that stuff comes into play because the terminology is more commonly used with multi-piece wheels versus one-piece forged or one-piece cast. Not only with wheels, but there's common misconceptions that moved over from the tire talk of the world. And if you want more traction, you would get beefier tires, right? Negativo, Ghost Rider, the pattern is full, don't do it math. Based on good old math, having too wide of a tire will often result in a more negative experience than positive, even if it now looks like you have a fast car. Lots of individuals that have a belief that width is the sole determinant for traction, but it's actually not just that. It's quality and traction pathing that matters a whole lot more. And there's a whole bunch of math that you can do out in the world that can determine how wide of a tire do you actually need for a certain wheel, and then of course a certain platform and horsepower that you're looking to achieve. You'll find plenty of people actually opting for a smaller tire size versus its wider option counterpart simply due to responsiveness and reduction in sidewall rolling, which can result in actually better track times, faster reaction times, and all sorts of other good stuff that results in making you a better driver. You just don't get to brag about the big section width number that you have. But it's not just terminology that gets people all up in arms. Sometimes it's just the mere mention of things. Things. Like camber. Dun, dun, dun. Talk to somebody that isn't on the gram or doesn't follow the good old trends, and the moment you mention camber, they'll come out swinging with every reason as to why you're a dumb and that you should start your car on fire.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
One of the biggest arguments on this point is usually, well, traction issues, wear, and looks. Now, if you take some of the whole opinion out of it, a lot of people will always argue the tire wear and the traction issues. However, if we're talking about a minimal camber, which is right around 3 degrees mark, which is actually set up more for track usage, it's pretty normal on functioning street cars. In addition to wear, it's actually more common for tow to destroy your tire tread than it is for minimal camber on either side of the fence. I know, and I don't have camber. I'm not defending it, okay? I'm a bridge of information, okay? That's all I am. And there's a lot of other stuff out there that a lot of people have a tendency to get into a fight over. What would you say is the most common thing that you've gotten in a fight over when it comes to addiction? Let us know in the comment section below. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. Don't forget to subscribe. And of course, in case you guys haven't been watching yet, you're gonna wanna take a look at the description link below because we have another channel where we're talking about more technical stuff and builds and things like that. So if that's your thing, go check out Fitment Industries Garage. I'm Alex of Fitment Industries, alex.fi. Don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. We will see you later. By the way, it's Varrock. No, it's Varrock, if I remember correctly. Catherby. And Lumbridge.
I'll say it's Lumbee.
Lumbee.
Well,
Peace.
Lumbee.
Lumbee!